Well, hello there, all my little fluffy Pokemons. It is Mewtwo here with you tonight, feeling moderately pink and fluffy. I am currently wearing my warm, cuddly winter coat, and if it hasn't aired yet, I did just record a video in full suit, standing around in this, looking all cuddly, so look for that. Probably look back at my history for that, because at this point, my full suit videos are coming out way sooner than these are, so good chance that'll have aired long ago at this point. So tonight's topic's going to be thoughts, and that thought is going to be on another Marvel movie, and not too old at this point, Captain Marvel. All right, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting this. This is one of the characters I kind of knew existed due to a lot of things that have gone on, a lot of discussions about characters and name rights and who should be called what. And mostly that's because I knew of another Captain Marvel. Not one of the many ones by Marvel, but the DC one, who is also now known as Shazam. So I knew him as Captain Marvel first in my life. I mean, I don't know which one was first, really, but he was the one that I first watched anything of, and I think it was on Justice League that I first saw him, and he was definitely in Young Justice, which was a great series. If you haven't watched that yet, go find that and watch it. It was awesome. You won't regret it. But I knew that there was a Marvel-owned Captain Marvel. In fact, there had been, as far as I know, several of them. But this particular Captain Marvel is the one that they decided to make a movie in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka the Disney-owned one. It was teased at the end of Infinity War, and it came out shortly thereafter, and a little bit before Endgame. Now, as long as you knew who Captain Marvel was, you weren't too spoiled by the fact that you watched Endgame and she came on and was just awesome. I barely knew who she was, so when she was on screen on Endgame, I was still a little, huh? Because I didn't get to see that movie first, because mostly I was getting to see these movies once they came out on disc. But the main Avengers movies I tried to see in theaters just because I'm a masochist and I like to see how long I can hold my pee. And I didn't want to have them spoiled before they actually came out on disc. Mostly that. So I saw it after I saw Endgame. But I was definitely not disappointed. In fact, okay, spoiler alert, just in case anyone's got this far and hasn't been spoiled yet. So far, all I did was introduce where this movie existed, so hopefully I didn't spoil anything for anyone. Oh no, he spoiled my fun of looking up timelines. No, that's just timelines. That didn't hopefully hurt anyone. I loved this movie. This one really hit home and hard. Going back to my discussion about female-related heroes and stuff from the representation in Endgame, this is the exact opposite of that particular rant. This was completely a female-based hero setup. We had a female lead, her best bud pilot was also female little girl who turns out to have more roles in the Marvel Universe later on. Spoiling that for my own spoiler's sake. I already said spoiler alert, so, not a big deal. And it had Nick Fury mostly being non-effective. So we had a superhero female doing a great job, and Nick Fury kind of flubbing it a lot. So there's something. We really had a female positive movie, and I feel like it was very female positive, 100%. I don't feel like it was patronizing in any way. I don't feel like it was forceful in any way. And I think that was perfect. Um, because of the nature of the character and how they were introducing her, she came out of a mid to early 80s, where she was mind wiped, blown up, kind of introduced to her cool powers, and kidnapped by the Kree Empire, told that she was one of them. Uh, so yeah, good environment, good setup. We had a lot of fun to work with. Was it 70s? She might have been pulled out in the 70s and existed in the 80s. Either way, good window, good time frame to be from and knowledgeable about. This effectively in the timeline setup is like the second movie in the Avengers timeline due to it was after Captain America went, you know, ice ice pocket, and long before anyone else was brought up because she spent a lot of time out and about afterwards. And she was like one of the first superhero, I think the first superhero person Nick Fury got to interact with, um, which is pretty cool. I mean, it gave a good startup for him too. It also gave the source point how he lost his one peeper. um, I love the way her fake name from the Kree existed because they only got her and half her dog tag, which had just the end of her last name, Veers, Carl Danvers. So Carol Danvers. Sorry, I just transgendered her by accident. Sorry, guys. Sorry, that was by accident. No, she was female from the get go, so that didn't. We're not adding that into the stage of woke that this movie got. But I wouldn't have put it past them. They did a good job of introducing stuff in a way that I felt they did a good job of. So they probably could have thrown that in there, and it would have been good too. Um, so they had her part of her name, and that's just what they called her at in the Kree Empire. Um, her lead scientist she was working under because she was just a pilot and she was test piloting weird stuff, just happened to be an undercover Kree scientist who was trying to make a lightspeed engine to help the Skrull escape from the Kree. Kree apparently at some point took out their home planet and has just been hunting them down because they didn't want to join the Kree Empire. Wow, relatable. So we the engine got blowed up by Carol. She actually shot it to avoid it getting taken, and the energy shot into her and gave her all sorts of weird zoopy doopy powers. Energy, propulsion stuff. Not sure all the extent of what you got, but it all seems to be energy and strength based, so pretty cool. Um, Hindsight, the Skrulls in any previous Marvel stuff actually were bad guys, so the fact that they were kind of a neutral party compared to the Kree, which are basically just genocidal evil, is kind of interesting. Um, in one of the old Fantastic Four cartoons that I liked watching as a kid, because I'm old, um, the Skrulls were a occasional bad guy, and they were pretty evil. So this introduction of them as not completely evil, kind of just tricksy, kind of just sneaky, but not like flat out, I want to blow up all the humans like every other bad guy always seemed to do back in the when I was a kid. Uh, Even Magneto wanted to blow up the Earth on his first cartoon. all he really cares about is killing all the non-mutants or just enslaving them back. Go figure. Um, Boy, I got a lot trailing off on this movie already, and I'm hardly into it. Uh, the fact that we get to spend some time with Carol Veers as a member of the Kree army is interesting because not only have we introduced the character as a superhero straight off the bat, we don't get the backstory right away. The backstory gets brought in as time goes by. We start off with a super soldier in the Kree Empire who doesn't look like very Kree-ish. Not very blue. Though most of her hit squad is also not blue, so it makes you question a little bit more since. Well, anyway, so we have her and her hit squad that's going out and hunting down scrolls, and she gets captured because the scrolls had scanned her and seen weird energy emissions coming out of her that are her bits from the engine thing that absorbed in her. So they stick her on a mind sucker thing and try and scroll through her memories to try and figure out where she came from. Because she doesn't remember. She just remembers waking up on whatever the name of that planet was, the Kree planet. Um, and then we start off with even more good action. Okay, she starts off waking up from a dream. Then she fights her like CO bossy type of her crew. Then we go onto a planet. We're having a fight with between them and some scrolls, and now we have her stuck in this brain sucky thing, and she breaks out of it. And then we have another cool fight scene with her on the scroll ship with her hands in some like big weird cuff things that are just kind of like domed over her head. She's like, oh, anyone of you guys want to tell me how to get these off? Nope? Okay. Just starts pounding on everybody with them. Like, you put big metal boxing gloves on me? We're going to use those. She couldn't use her energy blast because they were inside the things, but she managed to punch a lot of people with those. Until she decided, you know what, I'm going to go for a large energy blast. And boom! She blew them off her hands. um, Not before the scrolls figured out what planet she was from and went there. And as she ejects out and the scrolls eject out, now they're on Earth, looking for the location where the test flight and stuff all came from. We get the first viewing of both Agent Coulson as a trainee and Nick Fury as kind of a lead detective type level at whatever agency they're in. I think they're CIA. No, they are officially S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. So we had like trainee Coulson and like a kind of high level detective, not in charge, Nick Fury. And they're out exploring a weird incident where a lady in a scuba suit blew up a Blockbuster Video, which was Carol Danvers, who crash landed into the Blockbuster Video and is now interacting with 1980s United States, which is where the majority of this movie is set. Um, Lots of cool interaction with Skrulls on Earth during this part. Lots of cool battle. Some neat sidesy stuff of Carol's not an idiot. She actually took her communicator, which was broken, mixed in some tech she swiped from a Radio Shack, including a Game Boy and a payphone, and managed to make a communicator that she was able to communicate back to her homeworld. So I've definitely given some props there on the Kree knowledge was pretty awesome. Uh, Eventually, they get captured, kind of, as they're exploring the test flight area. Eventually, like Carol and Nick Fury get together and are, kind of partnering to figure this stuff out. Um, Several good lines with Coulson, and the fact they accidentally left actual Coulson back at the Blockbuster Video as a Skrull had taken his place in the car. That was gold. So Nick Fury got to kill his first alien there because he had a Skrull that was trying to kill him back, so he kind of killed him. And they end up in space. They find the ship which Marvel had and was her laboratory, where she had, of all things, the Tesseract. When they were still in the test ground place where the testy, flighty place for the experimental aircrafts, they found a cat, which was actually a flurkin, which is scary as all get out, and apparently has a higher danger rating by far than most anyone that was involved in this. Somehow it just like has giant tentacle claw mouth that can come out and eat anything, including, of all things, a Tesseract and Kree soldiers and whatever else it wants to ingest. Flurkin's scary, but also a cute little orange tabby, so bonus points while making the evil monster cute and fluffy, a la Stitch. We end up having lots of cool interactions, more combat, lots of battles. There were tons of fights in this movie, so the action is off the charts. The music was usually pretty fun too. Really set the mood more. Near the end, Carol figures out the secret isn't that she has been given these powers by the Kree. The Kree are actually trying to stifle her power and control her with a little neck probe. And she rips it out. And all of a sudden, her power goes from just kind of like jazz hands to jazz body. And she can just like produce so much more energy. It is amazing. It is a cool... Like, she was awesome already. And we just turned her up to, like, 11. And she became super crazy, badass, awesome. And I loved that. I felt like... I didn't feel cheated up until this point. But I certainly felt rewarded at the point when we get to see absolute awesome Captain Marvel near the end there as she just is, like, super juiced up and all the confidence and takes out all of the Kree pretty much single-handedly, which was great. They save all the Skrulls. They go off in Marvel's spaceship laboratory thing, and Captain Marvel takes out a fleet of Kree attack cruisers. One of these almost ended the Guardians of the Galaxy in their first movie. One of these. She took out like 3 of them. Took out. Not just, slowed them down or with the help of 50 friends. Or a squad of Nova Corps fighters. She busted through them. 'Cause she could. Wicked. And one of them was even piloted by Rowan, the basically main bad guy of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Pre him getting that Infinity Stone off of Quill, of course. So he was a little less powerful, but still effectively like heavy-duty high general of the Kree Empire as far as their ranking system goes. And yeah, she just like wiped out two of his like cohort ships and crippled his, and he limps away back to Kree homeworld. Yeah, she's bad. She is one bad mother. Well, auntie, I suppose, from their perspective. Uh, but altogether, this movie had some really beautiful graphics. The environments were always beautiful, well done. Even the point when they were in the test flight area and they were in the rolling file folder room, I was like, oh, I've worked in one of those. I know what that room felt like just by, hearing the lights clonk on as they walked through. Like, oh, that reminds me of the data center so much. It's like I worked in walls like those ones. I worked in a building like that, and I'm like, wow, wow, that takes me back. Yeah, this was beautiful. This was wonderful. This was not a movie I expected or even expected anything out of, and it gave me everything. So yeah, I am definitely gonna say Captain Marvel, A+ Marvel movie, A+. Um, and the actress they picked is pretty. For all of you more straight guys and well, less straight girls, they picked an actress that's really easy on the eyes. If you get my picture there, not that I'm like caring that much. Granted, I said that about both Benedict Cumberbatch and Tony Stark. Well, names escape me when you're trying to think of. Anyway, yeah, I said both those guys were hot. If I were straight, she's hot. I can safely say that. As a female, that's hot. Uh, not just the fact that she's kind of like on fire here as well. It's sort of her thing. But yeah, you really made an empowered, awesome female superhero who is pretty much the most powerful physically. The only other one that's possibly more powerful than her that's in their current Marvel universe is Wanda. And it's hard to say which one would be more powerful because they're stronger in different ways. But yeah, it's like you got two super crazy powerful critters, both of which got some of their power from, at least from an Infinity Stone in one way or another. So it's a thing to think about. Anyway, did you watch this one? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like me not see till after you saw Endgame? It happens. Um, Let me know. Comments box. Discuss. Good, bad, otherwise. As always, I'm not insulted if you like or dislike a movie I didn't like or dislike in the same way. In fact, I like hearing different points of view in this stuff, so please let me know. Comments box. Discuss. I want to hear. Anyway, please don't forget to like and subscribe. The little dingly bell for the little dingly bell let you know when I post new videos. Who knows? Could be a Mewtwo video. And of course, my Patreon link and my Coffee link are in the description box below. If you're so inclined and wish to help the channel, that's a good way to support. But for now, thank you so much for spending some time with this Pokemon. I look forward to seeing you all again in a future video, and for now, stay pink and fluffy, and I will see you all again very soon.